Good evening, George Orwell. Perhaps we should start with you telling us a little about yourself.
I like English cookery, English beer, French red wine, Spanish white wine, Indian tea, strong tobacco, coal fire, candlelight, and comfortable chairs.
Go on.
I dislike big towns, noise, the motor car, the radio, tinned food, and central heating.
Interestingly...
And modern furniture.
Quite.
All writers are vain, selfish, and lazy. And at the bottom of their motives there lies a mystery.
And so you have no control over what you write?
Writing a book is a horrible, exhausting struggle. Like a long bout with some painful illness. One would never undertake such a thing if one were not driven by some demon one can neither resist nor fully comprehend.
1984, with its thought police, Room 101 and Big Brother, has given us a language with which we can defy oppression. What demon drove you to dream up 1984?
I do not think one can assess a writer's motives without knowing something of his early development. His subject matter will be determined by the age in which he lives. But before he ever begins to write, he will have acquired an emotional attitude from which he will never completely escape. From a very early age, perhaps the age of 5 or 6, I knew that when I grew up I should be a writer. Between the ages of about 17 and 24, in Burma, I tried to abandon this idea, but I did so in the consciousness that I was outraging my true nature, and that sooner or later I would have to settle down and write books.
But at this stage you were still Eric Blair, and the brand of literature that you first attempted was the polar opposite of 1984.
At that time, I wanted to write enormous naturalistic novels with unhappy endings, full of detailed descriptions and arresting similes, and also full of purple passages. I spent 5 years in an unsuitable profession, the Indian Imperial Police in Burma. I then underwent poverty and a sense of failure. This increased my natural hatred of authority, but these experiences were not enough to give me an accurate political orientation. Using the word political in the widest possible sense, desire to push the world in a certain direction, to alter other people's idea of the kind of society they should strive after.
So you were, by your early 30s, a political writer?
No book is completely free of political bias. The Spanish War turned the scale, and thereafter I knew where I stood. Every line of serious work that I've written since 1936 has been written, directly or indirectly, against totalitarianism. In a more peaceful age, I might have written ornate or merely descriptive books. As it is, I've been forced into becoming a sort of pamphleteer. Animal Farm was the first book in which I tried, with full consciousness of what I was doing, to fuse political purpose and artistic purpose into one whole.
Some say politics has no place in art.
The opinion that art should have nothing to do with politics is itself a political attitude. What I most wanted was to turn political writing into an art. I do not think that the kind of society I describe will arrive, but that something resembling it could arrive, and that totalitarianism, if not fought against, could triumph anywhere. I think that allowing for the book being, after all, a parody, something like 1984 could actually happen. This is the direction the world is going in at the present time. In our world, there will be no emotions except fear, rage, triumph, and self-abasement. The sex instinct will be eradicated. We shall abolish the orgasm. There will be no loyalty except loyalty to the party. But always there will be the intoxication of power. Always, at every moment, there will be the thrill of victory, the sensation of trampling on an enemy who is helpless. If you want a picture of the future, imagine a boot stamping on a human face forever. The moral to be drawn from this dangerous nightmare situation is a simple one. Don't let it happen. It depends on you.
What's going on, everyone? It's Nina Infinity. Welcome to my channel on Wednesday. This Wednesday, the start of the show, Breaking the Narrative, with my special guest, Michelle from Force of Light. Thank you for being here tonight, Michelle.
Yes, thank you for having me. I guess one half of Force of Light Entertainment tonight. Natalie couldn't be here, but she said she would love to come back on another time.
Absolutely, absolutely. We're going to have the both of you on very, very soon, because I think tonight is going to be a really good show. And I think that we're going to be doing this, quite often, because you and I, we see eye to eye when it comes to a lot of this stuff that's happening in our world. I noticed you on Twitter like so long ago, and I was like, this girl thinks like me. That's fair.
Yeah, I go through phases. I get very mouthy on Twitter, and then I'll kind of pull back a little bit. And then with all this talk on shutting things down again, I've gotten very mouthy again.
Yeah, I go through phases too, like, maybe I'll shut up this week. Okay, I can't hold it. All right, so everyone, please introduce yourself to everyone in the chat. Let everyone know where they can find you. Her link is in the description, along with the Twitter. So please let everyone know.
Yes, I am. As I said, I'm one half of Force of Light Entertainment. My sister and I, we talk all things entertainment, pop culture, movies, TV, different things. Well, that's what's kind of interesting. And that's how we met, Nina, obviously, is through pop culture, because pop culture and what we're going to discuss tonight, they collide so often. And I find that those are actually the videos people are most interested in, are the ones kind of pushing back against these mainstream narratives. Yeah. But yeah, you guys can find us at Force of Light Entertainment on YouTube, and you can follow. I'm the one who runs the Force of Light Entertainment account, is my account on Twitter, because after I had a personal Twitter account for many years, and the night that they decided to permaban Trump, like the next day, I was just like, I went out in a blaze of glory with tweets. Like, it was just like, I'm done. And because I was running the two accounts anyways. The one was staying very neutral just for our show. And then I was just like, I'm done with this. So I got off my personal one, and I just now the Force of Light Entertainment one is mine.
Makes sense. Yeah, because the first time we were talking, I was a little confused. I was like, wait, what? Like, wait, there's two of you, and then there's one Twitter account. Like, who's running this?
It's me. It's always, yeah. Most of the people, I think they've begun to they figure that out. They're like, oh, it's Michelle. If it's Force of Light Entertainment shows up in YouTube, it's me, or Twitter, wherever.
Oh, yeah, it's a great account. Everybody, thank you so much, Deranged Lunatic, for the rose. It's very lovely. Thank you. And we have so many people joining us tonight. Please be sure to smash the like, hit the subscribe button if you're new here, and share the stream so that we can get more people in here. Let's talk about so much of the stuff happening the past week. The past week alone has been, I mean, today alone has just been one thing after another. And what we're going to start with tonight, guys, is I came across this kind of like a podcast interview with a doctor. His name is Professor Matthias Desmet. We're going to get into that, but it was a really fascinating discussion about what totalitarianism is and how it takes hold of a society and what is required of it to take hold. But before we do get to that clip, because I did clip it a little bit, we're going to start by talking about the fact that, well, the other night, like you posted something on Twitter, actually, and I got into a back and forth with someone, not going to name names, but
I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah, but we were talking about this and this idea that that everything going on with the COOF. By the way, we have to use code words so that YouTube doesn't go crazy. So if we're talking about whatever this is, we're talking about the jab. If we're talking about the virus and whatever, we're talking about COOF. Just a disclaimer for everybody out here.
Yes, so, we are not medical professionals.
Yeah, we're not medical professionals. This is all based on knowledge that we've attained through the CDC, everything that has to do with, all of that.
I will say, though, that me and Bill Gates have the exact same amount of medical expertise.
I have a little bit, I have more Windows knowledge, I feel like, than even Bill Gates at this point, because he couldn't even keep Windows virus free. I don't know what that guy's talking about. But we were talking about the COOF and the idea that what's going on in New York and the mandated jabs and everything like that. The idea that no other medical opinion is being considered through the mainstream if it doesn't have anything to do with what the narrative is. Mm-hmm. And this man right here, Dr. Mercola, he's been at this battle for the past 25 years. Dr. Mercola has had a website online, drmercola.com, where he's talked about all sorts of alternative medicine and alternative ideas to medicine. And ever since the COOF started, he's been questioning everything. And he's been getting hounded. He's been getting death threats. He's been getting an insane amount of backlash. They covered a story about him in the New York Times, I believe, where they called him basically a quack. So he came out with this today. Let's watch this video. This is what Dr. Mercola had to say about all of what's going on, and it's 5 minutes long, but it's a good start to what we're about to talk about. Here we go.
Hi, this is Dr. Mercola.
Can you hear it?
Today, I have the most important announcement in the quarter of a century history of this news.
Can you hear it?
Oh, yes, audio? I can hear it.
Okay, great.
My goal and passion has always been about supporting you and helping you take control of your health. And I'm beyond thrilled that there are hundreds of millions of people who have benefited from what I've shared over the years. In fact, I am filled with joy and a deep sense of gratitude nearly every time I travel and lecture, as invariably so many people come up to me and tell me how I've changed their lives by providing vital information they just couldn't find anywhere else.
I'm just going to take a moment here to note that Dr. Mercola's website helped me in a way no other person could at a time in my life that I had a really bad experience with my cat, my first cat, Luna. She died of hyperthyroidism. And before she died, she lost her eyesight. And we took her to the vet, and the vet, all the medical experts in that field told us that there's nothing we can do. She's basically blind and she's going to die very soon and all this stuff. I went crazy, obviously, and I started looking at every possible place that I could in order to try and help lessen her pain. And one of the places I went to was Dr. Mercola's website. And Dr. Mercola had a website, like at the time, with another doctor called Dr. Becker. And Dr. Becker was a vet. She was a holistic veterinarian. And so through his website, I learned that you can use cod liver oil for cats' eyes in order to get them to work better. And my cat's eyesight came back within 2 weeks. And I actually went to the vet and I basically mouthed them off, and I was like, you don't know what you're talking about, because if I had listened to you, my cat would be blind. And you basically have nothing, you don't know what you're talking about. So he's right. He does help a lot of people. A lot of people have been helped by Dr. Mercola, including myself.
And even better, it was completely free. These were the times when many of the views I presented were criticized and controversial, but that's to be expected. That was one of the great freedoms we enjoyed. We could have different views, and we could speak openly about these views without any fear of retribution. But we are now in a different time, a much darker time. In fact, the silence of free speech is now deafening. Not only is blatant censorship tolerated, it is being actively encouraged by the very people who are to be entrusted with protecting our freedom of speech. We are not living from the lessons we've learned before. Never in my life would I believe the media would call out 12 Americans in a McCarthyism-like attack in the United States. And as you're aware, I was placed at the very top of this list. The last week has brought a tremendous amount of reflections to me and a lot of unacceptable threats to a company full of amazing people that have helped me support you in this journey. By now, I'm sure you know that there was a recent New York Times article attacking me, and it was one of the most widely distributed stories in the world. The article was loaded with so many false statements made about me and my organization. So the course of action I am now forced to take is to remove my entire archive of articles. I know. 25 years worth of blood, sweat, and tears coming down. I can hardly believe I'm saying these words. It's a testament to just how radical things have degenerated in the recent past. However, I will continue to publish new articles, but going forward, each article I publish will only be available for 48 hours and will then be removed from the website. We are at a crossroads where change is unavoidable. We all must make choices that determine our future. And to many, this looks like war. But what we need is to find peace. And I'm going to find peace through this sacrifice. Just to be clear, all my content will be removed. This includes articles on the Great Reset, general nutrition, the coronavirus, and all my interviews with experts. These will be all removed to appease the individuals in power who have an arsenal of overwhelming tools at their disposal and are actively engaged in using them. COVID-19 has activated emergency authorization powers that have weakened our constitutional rights. Sadly, cyber warfare and authoritarian forces are beyond our abilities to withstand, and this is now the only way forward. Over 15,000 articles full of vital information that has helped hundreds of millions of people across the world take control of their health will be removed. There was a time when people could debate and respect each other freely. The time is now gone. I believe laws are best applied like medicine, locally and specifically. Local food, local democracy, and our local community strength is the best way to achieve peace moving forward and to stop this authoritarian technocracy. I also believe we are the strongest when we can care and maintain respect for each other. This is how we can make our most important decisions in life. Again, I'm still going to be writing my daily articles that I started 25 years ago, but they will only be available for 48 hours before they are removed. And this way, I hope to continue my mission to serve you and help you take control of your health. So I want to thank each and every one of you that have supported me over
So that's basically the lowdown of what's going on with Dr. Mercola. I felt incredibly sad that this was happening because, like I said, it was his website is something that I've benefited from for a very long time. He sold like natural aloe vera, like pure 100% natural aloe vera, like with no alcohol like on it. I've never been able to find that anywhere. He's just, and he's a good human being. You can tell, like some of the stuff that he's been covering, he's just wanting people to take control of their own life. And that if you have an ailment, that doesn't mean that you're, you should be ostracized from, from society because, you feel like this powerlessness, that you feel like you can't do anything about it. And that's all he's ever wanted to do, was to help people. And he's a doctor. He's a doctor. He's a medical doctor. And so when we were having that discussion last night, and I hear things like, well, like, whoever these people are, because I provided a list of doctors who are talking about against, or I should say, they're talking against the COVID narrative. And when you like, when I provide a list, first of all, it's never a good enough list. Like it's never long enough, or it's never, it's only like 10 doctors. Oh my God. Right.
Well, and on Twitter, it's like you're providing this off the top of your head. Like there's obviously more. It's just that's it. Oh, well, and this person too, I asked, have you looked at the Stanford studies? Oh, that's crap too, from Stanford.
No. It's just, and then when you say these like names, and then they're like, oh, well, these people are all quacks. Of course, no one's listening to them. Like there's this incredible judgment. And I'm like, yeah, the whole point of having dissenting voices, like having the differing voices that are being shut down, that is the key point here. And something that, totalitarianism really counts on. They count on people not being able to talk to each other. That's how things like this take effect. That's what George Orwell was talking about in the beginning clip.
Well, and it comes back to something I talk about quite often, is America is built upon the marketplace of ideas. And if, speaking for America, so it's like, if we do not have a place where ideas, dissenting voices can flourish and express their thoughts, then it's not America. It ceases to be that. And if you look at our country's history, in the past years that I can remember in my life, there were 2 times that our government on each side perfectly agreed with one another. The first was over the Iraq War. The second was over the COOF situation. My point is, we already can look back in history and know the first one was bad. We wasted trillions of dollars. People died for no reason. The list just goes on and on. What's it going to be in 20 years when we look back over how this was handled? And again, no dissenting voices. Everyone just says, yep, let's do it.
Yeah, there's absolutely no opposition, and the opposition has been completely shut down, basically. I mean, look at stuff like with Dr. Mercola. Look at stuff with Brett Weinstein. Most of the people who have even YouTube channels that are still up, like Brett Weinstein, they've been demonetized. They're not making any money off of any of the stuff they're talking about anymore. That's why most of them are going to like Odyssey and places like that. That's where I got this other clip from, and this other interview that I will share with the chat, because I want you guys all to go and watch it. If you're interested in understanding the idea and the crux of the matter at hand, this is a really good way to do it. Before I do play the other clip though, Garman, the professor, thank you so much for the $5, says, can't stay. Just wanted to thank you for always rocking content, Nina. Don't know your guest, but I hope she and everyone here has a blessed August. Well, thank you so much for being here. This is Force of Light Entertainment. This is one half of Force of Light Entertainment. Make sure you're subscribed to our channel. It's an amazing channel.
Oh, thank you.
It's in the description. It's in the description. I don't know if I don't know if I have any mods in the chat, but if the mods could please drop the link for Michelle's. I'm always like going back and forth about you and your sister's name.
Michelle and Natalie.
I know. I'm like, is it Michelle? Is it Natalie? Okay. Like, are you guys twins? You look so similar.
We're not. And what's actually funny is growing up, we never, like, no one thought we looked anything alike. She has the red hair, I have the dark hair, and I was sporty, she was girly, and no one ever thought we looked alike. And now everyone thinks we're twins.
I swear you guys look so similar. The only thing that's different is the hair. That's like everything else is like, I swear. That's why I'm always like, okay, wait, which one is this one again? Oh yeah, that's this Michelle. Okay, I'm good. I'm just bad with names. I'm sorry.
I'm not good with names either. It's fine.
I see people saying that they got no notification for this show. I am not surprised. This show is going to be very controversial for YouTube. So that's why I tell you guys all to smash the like, let everyone know we're here, share the stream, all that good stuff, because you're not going to get notifications for it. John Burns, thank you so much for the $5. Says China has been under totalitarian governments by other means for 8,000 of years. Democrats took big real estate money, let the eviction ban expire. Yeah, China's been kind of messed up for a very long time. I don't know about thousands of years, but definitely since communism took hold. I mean, before that they had they had an empire. It was a little bit different.
Has China ever? I don't think China's ever had like even democracy.
Well, I mean, they had it in like Hong Kong, but that's different.
And then they took them over.
Yeah. It's very complicated. That's why they don't like Vietnam, or Taiwan. I mean, because they have places that want to practice democracy, but they're like, how dare you? They're like, no, you're gonna be a communist.
How dare you?
No. But yeah, like it, and I heard today that China, because they have their own brand of the jab. And I heard that apparently in China, they do not let people, their citizens, get jabbed by Pfizer or Moderna, like the mRNA jab. Like they don't let them do that. And they have to like be jabbed by their own brand of whatever. And it's interesting because I'm in Mexico, and in Mexico, apparently we got one of the Chinese ones. And I know several people who went and got it. And now they're being told that that is not accepted anywhere. So like if you want to travel or like whatever, they're not accepting it. So I've had friends that have been jabbed already, but they're like, now we have to go and find Pfizer or Moderna so that we can get the jab that's approved. It's kind of crazy. And I'm like, so you're going to become like a concoction of all this.
Yeah, of all these different vaccines that we don't really know what they do fully. So have fun.
No. It's like, okay, I'm just gonna start like putting all that in my body. That's great. Yeti Cast is here, and he asked if we've seen the trailer for some movie, and I have not. I don't know.
Yeah, I hadn't seen it either, Yeti.
I have not seen that movie, but it's good to see you, and it's good to see you, Sam. Says reminds me of a quote I found published on Twitter. They mean diversity of thought like all terrorists do. I was horrified that differing perspectives were framed as terrorism. Absolutely. Sam, I don't know what's going on with your country, man. I did see this today. Just real quick, we'll go over that. Have a million tabs open. Sorry, guys. Okay, here we go. I found it. I see Sam in the chat, and I was like, we might as well cover this real quick. COOF in Sydney, military deployed to help enforce lockdowns. Speaking of totalitarian governments, Australia has deployed hundreds of soldiers to Sydney to help enforce the COOF lockdown. A Delta outbreak, which began in June, has produced nearly 3,000 infections and led to 9 deaths. 9.
And how many people are in Australia?
A lot. A lot. I think it's like 900,000 or something like that. Australian Defence Forces soldiers will undergo training on the weekend before beginning unarmed patrols on Monday. Oh, they're unarmed. At least they're not armed and putting their guns in your face like they did in Iran with the fascist takeover of our government. Australian Defense Force, but many have questioned whether the military intervention is necessary, calling it heavy-handed. You think? You think maybe just a little bit?
I just want to go over this. There's over 25 million people in Australia. So you said how many have died?
9.
And we're gonna do this.
9 deaths.
I wonder how many people died of car wrecks in that day.
How many people die of heart disease
within a day?
And diabetes. Sam says 21 plus million.
Yeah.
There you go. 9 deaths. Deploy the army. Yep, that's where we're at, you guys. That's where we're at.
And that right there should just show you the insanity of what's going on. That this is not about keeping people safe. This is not about deaths or anything like that. It is there's other motives that are obviously at play.
Definitely. I mean, definitely there's other motives at play here. 200 Watt Studios, thank you so much for the $2. Says, hey, Nina, sweetie, looking great in my favorite top. Aw, thank you so much. I appreciate that. John Burns also says, Jim Carrey, I say we shut down the national media for 30 days and watch 80% of the world's problems go away. Well, he's not wrong there, even though Jim Carrey is kind of like jumped off the deep end over there, but
he's gone a little crazy.
Just a little bit. See his Trump paintings? I was like,
yeah,
wow.
he's really lost it. I don't think he's coming back from the deep end.
I don't think so. I don't think there's any coming back.
It was too far of a drop.
It was crazy. YetiCast says the government is scarier than any virus. I mean, we kept hearing this phrase like the cure can't be worse than the disease, and it's been worse.
It can be. It can be. It definitely can, and it has been.
It's been very, very bad.
Well, and I mean, for starters, you even have to specify, which they don't like to specify. All the numbers that we have, death numbers we have, is people who died with. Not of, with. So it's like, how many actually died of?
Yeah, I mean, we don't even know if this is correct. Like, I mean, I don't trust any of these numbers. Like,
how many of those people had issues before that? And I mean, we don't know.
Exactly. And Elijah, I agree with you. Like, I'm not throwing out the baby with the bathwater. That was a great quote. He's right. If you turn off your TV and if you take away social media, he's absolutely right. The world is going to go back to simpler times. You know what? The first thing we're going to do is get together because people miss each other and people want to be around each other. Social media is this weird, epoxy like socialization where it gives you the illusion that you're socializing with people when you're actually not really, because being somewhere physically with people like you, Natalie, Michelle, when you're with Natalie and you're next to each other and you're talking to each other and you're holding each other because you're sisters and you're like, you have an emotional conversation. It's different than when you have that conversation with someone like me, right?
Yes. Yeah. Through the screen. It is.
Exactly.
Yeah. You can't beat in person. That's just, humans were made to be in relationship, we're social. We're social beings. We're social creatures. Even people who are introverted they've got to have social outlets. Yeah. And I think I could prove that probably if I dug into it. It's just like how many things that have been social have been taken away from us. I mean, look, malls are dying. Malls are dying. Movies are dying. All these things that we can go out to. And it's just, people need that. You get pod people when people don't go outside their houses and all they do is watch the news or stay on Twitter or whatever. And it's just not healthy.
It's not healthy at all. And it's not healthy physically, and it's especially not healthy mentally. It's like you were saying, we're social creatures. We can't just stay online and pretend everything's okay. That's just not the way it
No.
works. John sends another $5. Thank you so much. John says, it's not where we're at. Trudeau's too lazy to work for a living. That's also true. Although I want that guy out.
Yeah, he's
Shadow
he's
Warcraft.
something.
Can someone some witch doctor resurrect Orwell and have him warn us again? That part, that at the end of that opening where he said it's on us, I was like, we're the children that inherited the earth, and we basically fucked up. Like we let this happen. We have been warned. We've been warned,
Yeah.
and we let this happen. This is on us. As far as
Yeah.
I'm concerned, it really is on us at this point. Because especially with all that is going on, you have people like Chris Sky. You have people coming out and speaking out against these kind of things, and they're just being like, just looked over, like as if it doesn't even matter. Like there's not enough arguments about all this.
No, because again, dissenting voices have not been permitted. They've been cast out. They've been labeled. We now live in a society. If you question anything, whether that is the election, whether that is the coup, whatever it is, and by question, I'm not even fully saying question. Especially at the coup, we all know it's real. We're saying question how it's approached, and
how
that's
it's being
the problem.
handled.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. No one's saying it doesn't exist, especially not us, because we're not medical experts. We're not telling you it doesn't exist.
Yeah, I mean, I know people.
We fear where we're going.
Yes, I know people who've been impacted by it and had bad stints with it when they got it, but that still doesn't mean that we handle things this way. I know people who have had really bad pneumonia too.
Yeah. My landlord's mom died because of COVID. Like he had, she had comorbidities. So she was diabetic, and she got it and she passed away, unfortunately. And she didn't get vaccinated. This was before the vaccine. This was during the height of the pandemic. And he still thinks this is bullshit. His mom died and he's like, no, I don't care. Like, this is not right. What they're doing is not right. And when we were talking about it to each other, he was telling me this. My mom was telling me, like, they're going to count me as one, and she was laughing about it before she passed. And it's really tough. Like, and I've known people in my life who've been affected. It's just that where we're going with it, the ends doesn't justify the means. I just don't think so.
And it's like, how many people know someone who's been affected in the way of they lost their business? And because they lost their business, they lost their house. And it just that cycle just keeps spinning, because you've got to be able to make money. And some of these places, I mean, my gosh, places like California, I just feel so bad for those people.
Yeah.
New York and what they're getting into now. I feel
so bad for all the kids. Like, it kills me that all the kids are growing up in this time right now, are experiencing this, and like having to go to school wearing a mask. And like, I mean, it's an absolute nightmare.
And isn't it interesting that this new variant comes right as school starting? And let's put the mask back on kids who, by the way, statistically speaking, with kids, if they are 24 or under, they have a higher they're more likely, this is statistical, to die by getting struck by lightning. So, there's not a risk for kids. There's just not for young people. There's not a risk for me.
But they're saying it doesn't matter. They're saying it doesn't matter. It's not about them. It's about the fact that they're going to come home. Yeah, they're going to go home. They're going to give the coof to grandma, and grandma's going to die.
And guys, only government can kill grandma. If your name's Cuomo, you can kill as many grandmas as you want, and they're not going to say anything about it. But
you're absolutely right. No one cares. No one cares about that. Although I do have an article that's going to talk. We're going to talk about that. Dimaj and I, thank you so much for the $2. People act like humans were immortal before CV.
Exactly.
That's so true.
Exactly.
So true.
I mean, the bottom line is life. you've got to take chances. Like every time you get in your car, guess what? You could die. Every time life happens. So you either just live, or some of these people, I mean, I know people, they've locked themselves in their houses and they won't come out. And you know what? At the end of the day, that's what you want to do with your life. Have at it. But it's just sad that the media and everyone has spun this to such a degree. I was listening to, this was, I mean, months and months ago. This is back in like 2020. And she is a professor at Oxford University. And she said this comment, and it's stuck with me. And it's been something I've prayed. She said that the psychology of fear has to be broken. And it's like, absolutely, because that's what we're living in, a psychology of fear. People genuinely feel like if I walk in and guess what, guys, never wore masks, not going to. And that's my right. There's 100 years of mass studies. They don't do anything. Like they do very little. In fact, one of the more positive studies compared it to coughing into your shoulder. Or to your elbow. And it's just kind of like, gosh, where'd my train of thought go on that one? It's getting late.
It's okay. That's actually a really good segue into this clip.
Yes.
So I'm gonna play this now. I'm not gonna play the whole video. This is an hour-long video. Again, this is called The Psychology of Totalitarianism with Professor Matthias Desmet. We're gonna watch a clip of this, and we're gonna talk about exactly what you just said about fear and what that means and what this all means. Okay, here we go.
Well, what I was going to say before you get started, have you seen, back when this all started, Awaken with JP? He did a hysterical
I watched that
video.
guy religiously.
Oh, he's hysterical. He's great. But he made a point in one of his first videos that I saw of him do. I mean, it wasn't one of his first videos, the first one I saw, right when all this started in 2020. And he said, of course, he was doing it in a silly way, but he was saying we made up our minds when we were most scared, and now we're not willing, like, to basically see,
to even listen to anything else. Yeah,
and we're still living in that. Like people they made up their minds in March of 2020, and they're not changing it. They're not listening to anybody.
It's like you put on these rose-colored glasses and then you just see this rose-colored everything all the time. And it's like, no, man, just take off the glasses. You'll see like there's actual reality going on around you. It's different colors. Trust me. So I just put the link for this clip. This is an hour-long show. I highly recommend you guys all watch it whenever you can after the show, obviously, because we're here. But here we go.
So what is it in your view? What is it that apart from the mainstream media, what is it that has caused this, illusion for so many people that they don't see the reality, but they see a totally different picture of what really goes on?
Yes, four things need to exist or need to be in place if you want large-scale mass phenomena to emerge. The first thing is that there need to be a lot of socially isolated people, people who experience a lack of social bond. The second one is that there need to be a lot of people who experience a lack of sense making in life. And the third and the fourth condition is that there need to be a lot of free-floating anxiety and a lot of free-floating psychological discontent. So, meaning anxiety and discontent that is not connected to specific representation. So it needs to be in the mind without the people being able to connect it to something. Mm-hmm. If you have these four things, lack of social bond, lack of sense making, free-floating anxiety and free-floating psychological discontent, then society is highly at risk for the emergence of mass phenomena. And these four conditions existed.
And they do now. This is what they did. This is literally what happened to us. We were told that there's a virus. There's nothing we can do to stop it. We don't know we don't know its origins at the time. We don't know, like, just basically like a whole bunch of insane headlines. So many people are dying, death, literally had like death count clocks on the news where it's like there's a ticker number of people dying.
Yeah.
And it's showing you this death number until they couldn't anymore. And that was the kind of like the funny part, because they were like, wait a minute, this isn't like, we're switching to cases because this doesn't work anymore. But this is what they were doing. They lock us down. They get us to all separate from each other. Literally everything that this guy talked about, insane amounts of fear. And then here we are. Now we're in a complete takeover of our right to be free, right to have, right to gather, right to speak, to breathe air. It's all going. And we're letting it happen. We're just sitting here being like, yeah, okay.
Well,
okay.
And I just want to point out too, because people like the gentleman that got into a back and forth with us last night, it's the science, because that's become the catchphrase that they've drilled into everyone's brain. And that's awesome, by the way, Echo Base.
That's amazing.
In fact,
that's amazing.
In fact, my sister-in-law heard like 94 or 95-year-old grandmother beat COVID.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, it happens all the time.
Yeah, I've known a lot of people that beat it as well, as older people.
Yes. But anyways, they've been nailing the science into your head. How many times do Fauci and these other people get things massively wrong? And massively wrong in a way that screws other people's lives up because of their projections and what they're claiming. And we're just still supposed to believe them 18 months in? I mean, at what point do people question?
They keep doing it, and then the second you're like, well, wait a minute, didn't you say this last week? And then they're like, well, the science changed. It's like every 5 seconds, it's like, oh, the science changed, but it's like, oh, the science was like this from the very beginning. You know that thing about the masks, like that was like that already. That's why you didn't wear it at the baseball game, buddy. Like, that's why there's pictures of you not wearing it. That's why you have emails of people going back and forth being like, oh, yeah, you don't need to wear it. Don't worry. Because the science was already there. Like,
yes, because again, there's 100 years of scientific study on the issue, say, of mask. They have been studying mask since the Spanish flu. Like, that's how long they've been studying it. They know how they work with these type of viruses. And let's just say they know how they don't work. And let's just say Fauci's emails were pretty accurate.
Well, that's the other thing too. Like I saw somebody came out yesterday. God, I don't know. I don't remember who it was that said this, but somebody said that the reason like masks don't work. What we need to do is like, this was like some sort of White House health official or somebody, but they were saying like that the masks don't actually work, and what we need is like official masks that are N95s, and make sure that there's no that there's no
because even an N95 there are still spots there.
So they're like, we're working on making these new masks that are kind of like N95 but even more hardcore, and then they're gonna start and I was like, this dude is clearly in some sort of like mask manufacturing business or something, and he's like, oh yeah, your cloth ones don't work either, by the way. You're gonna have to start buying ones that are approved, because that's coming like soon.
For starters, how nasty are most people's disgusting cloth masks that they're putting on their mouth? Like,
dude, I saw a guy like cleaning windshields and stuff like in the street here, and he had his mask like in his pocket, and then he like took it out with his disgusting dirty hands, and then he put it like on his face, and I was like,
and just put it all
and like he literally had like dirt on his face, and I was like, and you think that this is gonna stop you from
it's insane. And then say even the N95, the medical mask, let me tell you what those are for. Medical masks are literally for doctors to enter a room with a sick patient and to be in a room for probably less than 15 minutes in settings with this patient and not get sick. Because that's another thing that drives me freaking nuts. People, again, I was never a mask wearer. If you hate me for it, whatever. But people, it's like people in their minds think you're going to pass someone in the grocery aisle and boom, you've got it. And it's like, that's not how it works. Like, you have to be in like in their vicinity for a while, like genuinely with them for some time. It's not just like you pass someone and you get it, but it's like people, again, they made up their mind when they were most afraid, and they don't seem to care about any other information. And then it was so politicized, sadly, that it's become a sign of what political party you're on. So if you're on the left.
I almost wish that Trump had come out and been like, masks are awesome. Everybody should wear masks, because then probably the lefties would have been like, never mind, maybe we shouldn't wear masks because masks are racist.
Well, that wasn't going to work anyways, because remember, Kamala Harris at the VP debate, she wasn't sure if she was going to take the vaccine.
That's true.
Remember?
Yeah.
She didn't know if it came from him.
Yeah. Because she was all like, oh, and she called it the Trump vaccine. She was like, I'm not taking the Trump vaccine. I was like, he's not making it.
Yeah. So
he's
now
not making it in his basement.
So now those exact same people are going to force you to take the same vaccine that she wasn't sure she was going to take in November.
Exactly. I mean, mind you, Donald Trump too, like he's also pushing that narrative. That's the thing. And it's just, and it's funny to me because everyone's like, well, like, all these right wingers, like, remember, like Trump was the first one to do it. And it's like, yeah, conservative people don't always get it, like agree on everything. Like I don't agree 100% on everything that he decided to do.
Do you know, I'm in a very red state, and I stayed on our governor's butt that whole, like, what was it, 6 weeks we were shut down? Our governor opened us up like the second May rolled around, that in 2020. It was we were one of the first states to fully reopen. But it's like I stayed on that man's butt because it was just like I was angry during that time. Like just because he's a conservative or whatever, that doesn't mean anything to me. Like, show you're a conservative. Don't lock us down.
Yeah, that doesn't mean anything. It's also like that's the really weird thing that we fall into, right? Like putting that brush stroke thinking of how everyone is the same. I mean, it's like, that's like saying like, all Persian people are the same, or like all Black people are the same. It's not like that at all. Just like, it's not like that if conservatives and, Republicans or whoever you want to call them, they don't all necessarily agree on everything.
No. And I mean, I can tell you again, I live in like literally the county I live in is the reddest county in one of the redder states. But within this, I can tell you, I know people that have their Trump flags and they're scared. It really isn't just fully divided between political lines, but that's what they want to push always.
Of course, more division. That's all it's all about. Like more fear, like this guy was saying, you need to have fear, division, because he was saying about social, like having a social like divide between just everybody. Like it doesn't matter whether you're politically agreeing or not. As long as there's division, it's good for totalitarianism. That's how it takes hold.
That's what let's see, I think last week, I forget it. Days just kind of rolling together, but I tweeted out, I actually really enjoyed back when they came out, the Hunger Games, the book trilogy. And I tweeted Philip, what's his name? Philip Seymour Hoffman, his character. And he has this conversation with President Snow, and he says, so fear. More fear. And they just keep talking about all these tightening of the grips upon their society. And I retweeted it because that's what it's like. Fear. So fear. Like that's all they do.
Yeah. And that's why I always use the quote with Frank Herbert's Dune, the fear is the mind killer. Because they always talk about stuff like that. And there was another one that I actually posted on that thread that we were talking about from Star Trek, Captain Picard, who talks about freedom. And I'm going to play that right after I read John Burns's super chat, because I thought that was such a great statement. And we hear all these things all the time. Like we've heard all these things all the time. And it's like, I feel like at this point, I'm like, weren't we listening to any of it? Like what is happening? We've failed the test. Like, it's like as if we've been in school, we applied in class, but we didn't follow directions. Like, it's like, no, like they told us this. George Orwell told us this. All these people told us these things, and we are. It's
Well, I
kind of
mean,
crazy.
it's no different. This is a different thing, but it's no different than in 2001 when 9/11 happened,
Mhm.
and everyone out of fear, yes, yeah, the Patriot Act is great. Listen
Yeah,
into our phone calls.
that was kind of the start of it, right? This is why
Yeah.
it's a more accepted because of all that. Like that, this
Yes.
is the end result of all of that. Um, do you know about the Corbett report? The channel, James Corbett, I think I think his
Yes.
name is James. He talked about that. There's a really good video that he had out. Actually, he released it on the anniversary of 9/11 last year.
And I'm
And
pretty sure, guys, I'm pretty sure that the Patriot Act was like already on his desk before 9/11 happened.
Oh my God, it's so bad. John Burns, thank you for the $5. Says I got AstraZeneca for my first shot. People died of blood clots getting AstraZeneca, so my second shot was Moderna. I enjoy my Franken vaccine. Well, good for you, John. I'm glad that you're fine and you're happy, and like obviously you're here talking to us right now. So like, listen, everybody, whoever you are, if you want to get vaccinated, go for it.
Try them all out.
Yeah, man, just a concoction. Like it's all good. No one here is gonna judge you. No one cares if you want to wear a mask, if you want to wear 10 masks. I don't care. I've told everybody I know that the next mask I get is going to be one of those astronaut helmets because I refuse to put the cloth one on my face. So I'm definitely investing in an astronaut helmet. I will be walking around with an astronaut helmet and a clown horn to beep at people.
Now, I will say this. Everyone do what they want, but if you are wearing a mask by yourself in your car, I am judging
Okay,
you.
I'm going to judge you. This is why I want the clown horn, because I also judge people who are bicycling and then they're wearing no helmet and they're wearing a mask. I'm literally going to start clown horning people like that because it's like, dude, you're going to fall down. You're going to hit your head. That's going to kill you harder than
Man, I see men like men in their, I would say 40 and under, 40, like young 40, 30s, 20s in the gym sometimes in Atlanta. And it's like, they have masks on. And it's just like, I just look at them like we're not compatible.
I saw pictures of people in the freaking swimming pool with masks on. And I've seen like pictures of people who've taken pictures of signs in swimming pools saying, please don't put your mask on. You could drown. Like, people have had to put these signs out now in swimming pools.
Oh, I forgot something I was going to say earlier. Do you know, it's like I don't know how it is. Were you raised in Mexico or did you just move there?
I just moved here. Yeah.
Because I don't know how
I moved here because I saw all the totalitarian signs of Canada and I was like, I don't want to be here when it's super cold and totalitarian. So I'm going to move to Mexico. I already know that Mexico is corrupt as shit. I can see the corruption. I'm fine with seeing it and preparing for it. I don't like, behind your back, knife in the back kind of corruption, which is what Canada is all about. But sorry.
Well, yeah, what I was going to say is in America, literally our school systems are designed for us to be like little, like the bell rings, we get up, we go down the hall, like everything that we've done from the time we're children is like designed to obey authority, like do what you're told. And not that obeying authority is not a good thing if the rules, if it's fine. But when it's beginning, but sometimes in America, there is a thing called civil disobedience and you can question authority. I mean, that is kind of how America started.
I know. I was going to say, isn't that how like America started? Because a bunch of people were like, we're not going to listen to these Brits. Like, fuck them.
Yeah. Yeah. And then we blew some stuff up.
Yeah, Echo Base Networks for $3.99 says, watch V for Vendetta and see how similar it is. Dude, I've seen V for Vendetta. I lived on that freaking movie in the 2000s. That was like, the call sign, man, the V mask and everything like that. That was everyone who had one of those was.
Man, I watched that at the beginning of this year. And when he's in there like, duh, 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 and it's all blowing up, it really did my heart good. It warmed my heart.
Yeah, that's a great movie. I mean, if you guys haven't seen V for Vendetta, definitely check it out. It's definitely one of those really good movies that really describes our world. Kind of like Idiocracy. It wasn't supposed to be a blueprint, but here we are. I mean, V for Vendetta is very similar to George Orwell's 1984.
Yes.
It was kind of like in the same vein. But to this day, I still talk about remember the 5th of November. I do that all the time. Like every 5th of November, I have a little celebration. Sometimes I watch V for Vendetta if I have the time. Alan Moore disavowed that movie. What? Really? Okay. But yeah, so this week though, in the news, there's been a lot of stuff going on, namely the idea that in New York, oh wait, this is not the right article.
Oh yeah, that's good old Cuomo.
That was that's coming up right after this.
Doesn't it just kind of feel like justice that this is what got him?
Hey man, I don't know. I think he's done a lot worse. I think this is just something that they're throwing him under the bus for.
He's done way worse. My point is, it's almost like when OJ got caught for that second thing, it's almost like, nope, like you're not going to get away with it.
Oh my God. Did you see that whole thing where he came out and said everyone should go get vaccinated? I was like, seriously, dude?
Yeah, no one wants to listen to someone who's committed double homicide.
Dude, the comments on that thing were absolutely insane. People were like, yeah, don't tell people to go get stabbed and like all this shit. Like it was like, oh,
let's just say OJ knows a thing or two about a jab.
Yeah. People were all, it was like just the comments alone. I was literally on that thread for like an hour laughing my ass off at the comments. It was just bad. But this is what happened. NYC mandates proof of vaccination for many indoor settings. This is what's got everyone very concerned, as they should be. New York City is mandating proof of COVID-19 vaccinations to enter certain indoor businesses, including all indoor restaurants, entertainment venues, and gyms. Mayor de Blasio announced Tuesday. If you've forgotten, guys, this is the same dude that ate a burger and fries on TV and said, like, we're giving out free burgers and fries for vaccines. That's the same dude.
Does it not sound, I remember tweeting this out like probably like months ago at this point, but is it not starting to sound like creepers in a van and they're like, hey kids, we've got some candy?
They did that in Canada, but not with candy. They did it with ice cream. They went to some places and they were trying to get kids to get vaccinated by luring them to the vaccine truck with ice cream. It was
okay.
Really
that's sick. Like that's messed up. Like
it is very fucked up.
Yeah. Yeah. Like you have to go to their parents.
Yeah. It's very crazy. John Burns, thank you so much for the $2. Says people all sides panic and we'll see. Yeah, I mean, I get that, John. I'm more panicked about not any of this, meaning like in terms of like what the vaccines are doing or whatever. I'm not even really, I don't care. I'm more panicked about this. This kind of stuff freaks me out.
Yeah.
Because if they're going to do this, what's next? If we give totalitarianism an inch, they will want a mile. This is what's happening in Australia. This is why in Australia, when people didn't say anything, they're like, well, okay, now we're going to start giving, letting the army come and take care of business over there. It's a very slippery slope. And that's all I'm saying. And this stuff freaks me out way more than who's dying from the vaccine. Listen, the information's out there. If you have eyes, you will see it. If you have ears, you will hear it. It's out there. That's all I know. This is why the other night when we were having that discussion with whoever on Twitter and they asked for who's saying all this? And I give him a list of doctors. It's like, well, I gave you the list. You can go look it up, and you can go, study it and see the things yourself, because we can't spoon feed everybody. That's the other thing. Like, you either see it or you don't. And if you don't, that's fine. Like, you do you, but don't make me do what you want me to do. Like, that's it. That's always been what it's about. I'm against mandates.
And let's look at this too. Okay. So for starters, I just want to point out that this is being pushed by the same party who claims that a voter ID is ist. So, but to have a vaccine card, that card is all good.
Yeah.
Secondly, in fact, they're going to demand it, even though it's minorities that mostly have not gotten it yet. So what are they going to do?
And kids.
Yes. So you've got that. Then secondly, with the vaccine, I was listening to someone. Do you know how many years it took for when you're dealing with a novel virus, which this was a novel virus, as you guys, we all heard at the beginning. The fastest that they ever got a true vaccine for a novel virus was 5 years. And now I'm just supposed to think that within 1 year, less than 1 year, that you have some great vaccine. My point is that you are kind of a guinea pig at this point. They don't know what it does. They've not had enough studies for it.
No, there's not enough. There's not enough, especially long-term effect studies.
Yes.
This is what long-term effect studies mean. So this is like, for example, what Lauren Chen is also talking about. There's not enough fraternity studies done on this thing. There's not enough. Like, that's why she's concerned. Like, she's trying to get pregnant, and she's like, I'm not, like, my doctor told me not to get the vaccine because I'm trying to get pregnant, and they don't know. There's no long-term studies about these kind of things. And that's completely valid. If you want to get pregnant and you don't know what it's going to do to you. Like, she made the point of, like, we live in a society where pregnant women are looked down on if they have a cup of coffee or if they go to sushi, because it's been like, it's literally been taken out of our society, that if you're doing that, you're savage, basically, because you, like, where have you been? Like, you can't, you get very judged if you do that. So, and then here we are having a vaccine that's been not at all looked into for enough time, and then people are like, if you're pregnant, go get it. Like, no, that's not going to happen.
Well, and I think, what's also insane that they're not talking about is, like, people who've already had it, there's no need for them to get this. In my opinion, I'm not a medical expert. I should say my opinion, but just check into it.
Medical experts.
Yeah, we are not medical experts, but it's just like they have the antibodies. That's what a vaccine does. It injects you with that virus.
They don't care about antibodies anymore, man. That's why they're saying that even people who've recovered from the coup have to get it. And it's like, what are you talking about? Like, if you natural antibodies, like, count, like, they're supposed to count. That's what we've been doing for years. And now it's all of a sudden it's not good enough.
Exactly. And I can tell you, because I have I'm going to be working with this medical lab. But anyways, one of the lead people in the lab, he had the coof. So he's been testing himself, like, every month to see if it still shows up in his work. And it does. Like, over 6 months later, it's still there. Like, the antibodies are still there.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, like,
John Burns,
but you don't hear stuff like that.
No, but I believe you. But you don't hear stuff like that. But because they don't want to talk about dissenting voices, they don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear stuff like that. John Burns, thank you so much for the $5. Says, read up about James Keegstra in Eckville, Alberta. He taught that the Holocaust never happened for decades before he was found out. Well, that's stupid. I mean, that's just dumb.
Yeah, it is. But there are those that believe it didn't happen.
I know there's a lot of
yeah.
But there's also a lot of people who think Trump is still president. I don't know what to tell you. No.
Yeah.
John Burns, thank you so much for the $2 again. Says Trump and de Blasio both ate pizza with a knife and fork. Were they together? And that would be funny. I'd want to watch that video if that's true. It's like that episode of Seinfeld where that guy was like eating a Snickers bar with a knife and fork. That's fine. Yeah, talk to your doctors.
Exactly.
I agree. Like, and it's so weird because some people like say like, my doctor told me not to get the vaccine, and then people are like, get a second opinion, and it's like, oh, so second opinions are okay, like, because it's like as if so far we've been treating like second opinions don't matter at all. It's only Fauci's opinion that matters, apparently. Like,
and I mean, sadly, the truth is with medical doctors, they can't tell you what this is going to do to you. There's not enough information. There just isn't. I mean, even you can go to the world's greatest medical doctor. They're not going to have all the answers over this.
Not yet, anyways. I mean, there's got to be studies. More information's coming out every day, right? And this is this is why their narrative is falling apart so badly, is because so much information is coming out that this was,
and hence why they have to tighten the reins. And now we've got Don Lemon on CNN saying how basically you just need to be cast out of society if you.
I have that clip. You wanna let me play that? Yeah, I have that clip. Here we go. This is what Don Lemon had to say. Before I play that, Lisa Roberts says, "I'm in NYC. I will not be taking the vax. I will leave." On Sunday, there will be a protest march against the situation. I heard about that. If I was in NYC, I would go. I would tell everyone I know to go. Listen, I don't believe protests work, but I would stand and add my voice to whatever is against this. Whatever this bullshit is going on in your city, you guys got to take control. You guys got to somehow put your voices together and let them know that you're, just say no, as Chris Sky says, or like what you were saying earlier, Natalie, nonviolent, non-confrontational, just saying no and being like, no, I'm not doing this. It's stupid.
Yeah.
What did you call it? Civil disobedience.
Yeah. Civil in America, guys.
Yeah.
Civil disobedience. Look into it. We have that right, and we can you can do it now.
Absolutely. Okay, here we go.
You can't go to the supermarket. Don't have the vaccine, you don't show it, can't go to the ball game. Don't have the vaccine, can't go to work. You don't have the vaccine, can't come here. No shirt, no shoes, no service. That's where I think we should be right now, because we continue to waste our breath on people who are just not going to change. They're, circular logic. They just keep going back and saying, well, it's my freedom. It's whatever. Don't get the vaccine.
It's freedom. It's whatever.
My freedom, whatever.
I have so many things to say to that, because it's like, no shirts, no shoes, no service. They used to have a rule. It was called like, if you're black, no service. Don Lemon.
Yeah.
That was
exactly.
Rule. People fucking stood up for that dumbass rule and got rid of it. And so you can be a freaking host of CNN. Now you're here telling people what to do. Martin Luther King's freaking rolling in his grave. Democratic government overreacts for 99% survival rate. Scary as fuck. And that's true. And when, the part that he said about how freedom doesn't matter, this is what I posted about freedom.
I question your actions, Captain. I question your choices. I question your loyalty.
There are some words I've known since I was a schoolboy. With the first link, the chain is forged. The first speech censored, the first thought forbidden, the first freedom denied, chains us all irrevocably. Those words were uttered by Judge Aaron Satie as wisdom and warning. The first time any man's freedom is trodden on, we're all damaged.
It's true. We're all damaged now. Hey, 19K Fox, the Poke is still not FDA approved. That's true. That's why they don't want, that's why people like Lauren Chen are like, I'm not getting an FDA approved, not FDA approved vaccine while I'm trying to conceive a child. I'm just not doing it. And it's her right. You cannot make people do something like that. That's ridiculous.
And then what really gets me is it's not your right to make people sick. And it's just, it's like, really?
You want to go, grandma? Like, I'm so over these narratives that they've just been like spewing out one after another. Literally, like this new one that you're talking about. This new one that's what is Biden calling it now? The pandemic of the unvaccinated. It's like, go fuck yourself, dude.
Well, and you know what they're doing there? You're placing more division. Like, it's getting to the point, and not to make reference to World War II, but it's just like, are we going to get little bands that like we wear on our sleeves that show we haven't had the jab? I mean, because that's what it feels like it's coming to.
It is coming to that. You already had people like Jennifer Aniston coming out and being like, hey, it's our moral duty to identify, like for them to identify themselves, like the non-vaccinated people. It's like, girl, are you talking about armbands here? Because that's what it sounds like. And why are we listening to celebrities still? Like, I don't really... Like, are celebrities in any moral position to give moral advice? I mean, these people live in the most disgusting, immoral place on earth, like Hollyweird, like Pedowood. Like, dude.
Let me tell you who is not qualified to give morality talks, and that is anyone in Hollywood.
Everyone in Hollywood. Like, shut up, lady. Like, no. I see.
And for stars, anti-vaxxers. Like, since when are all these titles here? That was not a thought that I had growing up, if I'm anti-vax or not. Like, since when is that a thing? And it's just, it's sad.
You know what? It's been a thing for a bit. Like, I remember when the whole, vaccines cause autism argument was going around, for a while, which was really interesting to me because, Robert De Niro, he came out and he was kind of like, yeah, like, fuck vaccines. And then he must have gotten a call because he turned that boat right around and now he's like promoting it. But like, I remember all that stuff and it's like, listen, I've been vaccinated. Like I've had all my vaccines, I didn't get the flu shot every year because I thought the flu shot was dumb and I didn't do it. I was like, if I'm going to get the flu, I'll just get the flu. Like,
I didn't get my dad made sure that we did not get pertussin back in the day because even back when I was born, that was already being linked to autism.
Wow. See, that's interesting. Yeah. See, I've had all my vaccines, like, all the ones you get in school and blah, blah, blah.
Now, I remember they had to check me out. I was in the 5th grade because I had gone so long without getting something that I was going to get kicked out of school, which all this has made me rethink those things.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why, as a tax-paying citizen, in fact, where I live, my parents had to pay both city and county tax because if you live in the city, you have to pay for the county as well. And why, when they pay taxes that they do, is the government allowed to tell their kids what has to go in their body? I don't think this has made me rethink a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
And I just don't think it's right ever to be real.
No, I don't think so either. I think it should always be when children are involved, it should be the decision of the parents. But I mean, it's unbelievable. Like, that's why, like, when I have this whole thing when people are they call me anti-vaxxer. I'm like, look, dude, I've had vaccines. I'm not against vaccines. I'm not like, don't you fucking go get hepatitis. That's bad for you. Like, it's not, or like hepatitis B, like, don't you dare go and get that vaccine. Like, I'm not like one of those people. This is not about this. I'm just not about being an experimental like, I'm not into getting an experimental thing put into my body. I've become, like, throughout my adulthood, I've become very holistic with how I live. As you can see from the beginning of the stream, I'm into Dr. Mercola's website because I'm very holistic in terms of how I don't even take Advil for headaches. I try not to.
Yeah, I don't either.
As much as I can, I try not to take, modern drugs and modern medication. And when I was growing up, doctors were hesitant to like prescribe, you know, antibiotics and stuff because they knew that if you have too much of anything, it's gonna have the adverse effect, and you're not gonna be able to. You're gonna have antibodies that are going to work against it, and then you're going to, you know, get even more sick the next time. So like things have changed so much. And then when I see stuff like Jennifer Aniston rips at anti-vaxxers and says they have a moral duty to identify themselves, I'm just like, no, like,
yeah, no, they don't. They don't
no,
have
they
any.
don't.
This is not a moral issue.
No, it's not. And if you're making it one, that's your problem. Like that's a you problem, Jen. And
yeah, and if you're that scared, stay in your mansion. Stay in your freaking house.
It's
Jen.
not like your house is that small, Jen. Everyone, the funniest thing about this whole thing though was, again, the replies. I mean, she's getting destroyed, and so many people are like, now I know why you're still single, Jen. Like, because that's been a mystery in Hollywood for so long. Why she's so beautiful and she's been like, she's single and she, you know, her marriages never last. Because apparently she's a total bitch. So there you go. John Burns, thank you so much for the $5. Says a change.org campaign wants to have a green space in Edmonton. The Nathan Fillion Civilization Pavilion. See video of Suicide Squad actor reacting. Okay, I'll have to check that out. That sounds interesting. And then I know that Christy, is this a pooper sticker? Did you send us a pooper sticker, Christy? What is it? Of course, it's a pooper sticker. It's Christy, and she's sending us a pooper sticker. Thank you so much, girl. Christy's awesome. She's one of my fellow queens on the Queen's Council. Everybody check out her channel. She's a fantastic lady. And then I think there was a couple more from John. Yep. Okay, here we go. John Burns, thank you for the $2. Says French protesters have been protesting Macron near. Yeah. There's been a lot of protests going on all throughout Europe, including France.
And that really warms my heart.
I know, me too. Seeing it, I was like, "Viva la revolution!" Yes, you guys go. I mean, they did start it all, right? Like freedom and liberty, and you know, all that kind of shit. It was all the French. I mean, John Burns also for another $2 says you need a vaccine to vote. Vaccine ID laws.
I have a feeling they wouldn't like that fully.
You know what? They might do that, man. I don't know. They might. And then I think there was another one here. John Burns, thank you so much for the $5. Says you didn't talk about anti-abortionists, pro-choice, our bodies, ourselves. That's the other thing too, right? Like a lot of people are saying what happened to that whole my body, my choice thing, because that used to be a phrase that the lefties kind of like lived by, you know, my body, my choice. But now that's gone totally out the door because it doesn't matter if it has to do with vaccines, but it has to do with abortions. Then no, that doesn't work. So I don't really know what to say about that. That's kind of crazy, John. That's a good point. I know you have to leave soon, Natalie, but before you go, just tell me don't hate me.
Okay.
You guys look too similar. That's what's going on. Michelle.
People do say we're twins. It's
I
fun.
love you. Thank you for being here tonight. Before you go though, tell me your thoughts on the whole Governor Cuomo sexual assault. Did you see his speech, by the way? That like
I did not, because I can only listen to that man for a few moments.
Girl, he went on for 15 minutes about how he didn't do it and he knew this girl and she told him she was a sexual assault survivor and he thought it was his moral duty to help her and like all this stuff. Oh my God, like girl, you gotta listen to this.
Again, what happened to believe all women?
Level. It's crazy. His speech is like, I can't believe like half the words that are coming out of this guy's mouth. But for those of you who don't know, the governor of New York has been thrown under the bus and ran over extremely. So I'm not going to read this whole thing. These are the key points you need to know. Assembly Speaker says Cuomo can no longer remain in office. Biden calls on Cuomo to resign in the wake of AG report. Reports find Cuomo sexually harassed multiple women and retaliated against one for going public. Cuomo is under criminal investigation and could face lawsuits. I believe these 11 women, Letitia James says, as she reveals the report's findings. These are the women who have been accused of Cuomo of sexual harassment and improper conduct. Charlotte Benet, a Cuomo accusers as governor of victim blaming, which he is for 15 minutes. Deeply, deeply disturbing. Democrat says Cuomo should resign and be impeached. Alone and defiant, Cuomo fights for his political life. This dude is absolutely fucked. And then
he's earned it.
But meanwhile, you know how like everyone was saying like the DOJ dropped the charges? It's not fully dropped because there's still a criminal investigation happening. So lawmakers and advocates now want answers on Cuomo's nursing home investigation. And while eyes are on Cuomo's sexual assault investigation, lawmakers and advocates are wondering about the other ongoing investigations, including their nursing home investigation that's diving into the state's handling of the COOF nursing home deaths. The Department of Justice dropped the civil investigation into civil rights violation at state-run nursing homes, but the U.S. Attorney's Office and FBI still have an ongoing criminal investigation. So this is still ongoing, you guys. I don't know what's going to happen with this. I feel like maybe, do you think he took a plea? Like, I don't know. Do you think he took a plea that like, I'll come out and I'll play ball about the sexual allegations thing, but then you won't press criminal charges?
It's hard for me not to feel though in our country. It's like, when do Democrats get in trouble? Like, that's just kind of how I feel. Like, it gets covered up, it gets hid, it gets buried.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they can do mass things and it's just, just forget it.
Yeah, it's like
yeah. I mean literally, and to compare, and I know I've got to be careful with where we are, but it's like compare from 2016 to 2020. Russia. They spent millions of our dollars to investigate something they knew wasn't real. They knew it. That's proven. Mm-hmm. They knew that it originated with them.
It was a lie.
It was a lie. They knew it. But then we have I'll just say, we had a very weird election where things that had never happened before happen. Mm-hmm. And the next day we're just supposed to accept it and move on. And how dare you question it? If you question it, you're assaulting our democracy and all this nonsense. And that's just kind of how it feels with things like this. Like, when did they get in trouble? They don't.
It really doesn't seem like they do. Especially as of when Biden became president. I mean, you're starting to see stuff like the other thing that I saw that they were tweeting out today was that thing he said about he said something about like the whole
is this Biden you're talking about?
Yeah. That he didn't really know he didn't care about the rules, that he was going to do this whole thing.
Yes, it's not legal. The Supreme Court said no.
Let me see. I think Ben
it's
Shapiro
the eviction thing, right?
The eviction thing. Yeah, that's right. Let me just quickly bring it up.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
I know Ben Shapiro tweeted about it.
Yeah, well, and this whole thing, it's like, how are the landlords going to pay for their taxes? So at which point, when the landlords don't have the money because you're not requiring the tenants to pay the landlords, is the government then going to come in and seize their property like they do if you don't pay the taxes?
Yeah, so that's kind of like, apparently the headlines have been stuff like Biden shows he's ready to make drastic moves in COVID-19 fight, even if he's not sure they're legal. So there's like stuff like this about exactly what you're talking about. And of course, like, you're right. Like, how are they supposed to pay their bills? Like, it's kind of nuts. The other thing too was, before you go, just guys, this coof thing is not going to be over anytime soon. It just came out that there's a new variant. It's called Lambda. Is highly infectious and thought to be more resilient resistance to the jab. So this is not going to go anywhere anytime soon. Before you go, Michelle, let me ask you one thing. What do you think, having spoken of all the stuff about totalitarianism, about all the stuff that's happening right now, what you see in front of you, what would you suggest as a solution? At least like an immediate solution, not necessarily a long-term one, but as an immediate one.
Do you mean for us citizens?
For everybody, yeah, for any, like for yourself or for whoever. Like, what do you think? Like, how would you want to fight back against all this stuff? Like, how would you think that we should handle this?
Just don't do it. Like, whatever it is, just don't do it. Like, if enough people just don't do it, then what are they going to do?
I agree. Yeah.
Like, don't wear a mask if you don't want to. Don't go do that. What is pictured in there if you don't want to. Don't do it, and don't let them force you to do it. And people
just say no, kids.
Yes, just say no. Don't do it. And that is where what I'm saying of oh gosh, now my brain, because it's getting late, so my brain.
Stream brain.
Yes, it is. Yes, but civil disobedience. That. When they told Rosa Parks to get up out from the back of or to go to the back of the bus, she just said no.
Yeah, she just said no. Just say no, you guys. Just be like Rosa Parks. Be like Rosa Parks. Just say no. I ain't gonna go to the back of the bus. I want to go to the gym in New York and not have to jab myself.
And what you have to realize too, everyone, is they always make you think if you just give them this, they'll stop.
It's just 14
it's a lie.
days. It's just, it's just this. It's just a little bit of that. And then here we are a year and a half later.
There was a book. There was a famous kids book. If you give a mouse a cookie, there was I forget how that goes. But anyway,
is it a Dr. Seuss thing? It's gotta be.
I don't think it is Dr. Seuss, but it is another famous kids book. But bottom line, don't give in to their things, because they'll claim it's just for something, but it won't be. Then once you say yes, they just keep going and going and going until enough people say no.
Bruce says the final strain of COVID will be communism.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
you're not wrong, man. I mean, I feel like
the communist variant.
Man, that's a virus that's been around for way too long. We need to get rid of that virus for sure. Thank you so much for being on tonight, girl. You're an absolute pleasure to converse with. I think that for me personally, I agree with you about like the just say no thing. The other thing that I would suggest to everyone is try your best to get prepared and don't rely on central systems.
Yeah,
Grow
absolutely.
your own food.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Try and become as self-sufficient as you can possibly get. Get to know your communities, your local communities, get involved locally, even get to know your law enforcement. Somehow, some way, get involved locally and try your best to just become as self-sufficient as possible, even if it means in your little tiny communities or whatever that means for you. Because I think that what this taught us the most out of everything is that we're way too reliant on the government. We're way too reliant on all of this stuff, and that needs to be remedied.
Well, and I will add to that. Yes, put pressure on those in your community that are in leadership, because even within a state, your mayor has power to make decisions for your city or your county, and it just keeps going out from that point. So keep, start local and keep working your way out as far as keeping pressure applied that they do not take away your rights.
Absolutely.
For a virus with a 99.8% survival rate.
See, Patrick says here, sorry, but there's no solutions. Only if fall of society, people will choose security over freedom. See, that's the thing, right? I understand and I agree with you. And it's just like what Orwell said at the beginning of this. But the thing is that if we just say no, and if we keep talking, if you watch that totalitarianism video that I shared earlier, you will see that that doctor suggests that we need to be talking about this. We need to get our voices out there because there's a lot more people that think like us than it is like them. They're just scared. They don't want to talk. And that's okay. But as long as they see that there are other people out there like them, there is hope out there for our world. It may not be too late yet. At one point it will be, and then you'll be under a complete authoritative rule and you'll know it. But right now it's not, because while New York is mandating this bullshit, Montana came out completely the opposite.
Yeah.
The Florida governor just today or yesterday came out and said, you know what? Fuck you, Biden. Don't talk to me about COVID if you're going to keep, not securing the borders. So there is definitely people standing up to what's going on. Add your voice to it. That's, that you have to. We have to, because if you're going to sit on the sidelines, don't bitch once, the game's over and we've lost.
Yeah. And I feel like people don't feel like it's too far gone. Like we're kind of at a place in our country's history. It's like the Empire Struck Back. Like that's where we are. It feels a little hopeless, but guess what? Return of the Jedi can come.
Return of the Jedi, man. Yes. It's not all hope is not lost. Listen, I'm infinite hope girl. Okay. I'm not going to lose hope on humanity just yet. Yes. We're getting close in some places, like in Australia. Listen, get out of places like that. I mean, if you can afford it, like if I was a New Yorker right now and this was happening in New York and I could afford it, which most people can in New York because New York is really freaking expensive to live in. So if you're going to live there, you can probably afford to move. I would move to Florida or Texas or anywhere that has more freedom than New York, which is pretty much everywhere, even California. Like right now, California is more free than New York. And that's saying something because they're a lefty state. So, man, it's just like that's definitely saying something. Yes, I am infinite hope girl. That is my I'm sorry. I'm taking so much of your time. You can bounce.
That's okay.
And I'm going to finish up the show because I have some other stuff I want to go through. But it was so nice seeing you. And we definitely have to do this again next time with your sister here.
We will. And thank you for having me on your first show. What an awesome privilege.
Breaking the narrative. Yay. Tell everyone where they can find you before you leave.
Yes, you can find me at Forcify Entertainment on YouTube, also Forcify Entertainment on Twitter and Instagram, but then I also have Michelle34 Smith on Instagram and Gitter.
Gitter? What's that?
Whatever the new social media thing is. I don't know. I try them out. We'll see.
Oh God, there's another one. It's like
there's
I swear every other day there's a new social media thing. Just like this. I was just gonna put the link in the chat, and Ancient Once got it. Ancient One,
yes, thank you so much.
Yes. Thank you. I'm gonna do it too though because I went and looked it up, and I feel like I should not. It would have been for nothing if I didn't do
There we go. It's there.
So there we go. It's there in the chat. Everybody, please subscribe. And again, thank you so much. I will definitely hit you up for another revisit. We need to discuss this further, especially with your sister here.
There'll still be stuff to discuss.
Things are getting real interesting, folks. So
they are. But yeah, everyone, don't lose hope. Don't lose heart. Just keep moving forward.
Moving forward.
Thank you, Nina, and everyone. Have an awesome night.
Good night. Take care.
Bye.
I'm gonna stick around a little bit more, guys, and just cover a few of the other stuff that I was gonna cover tonight that we didn't get to. But she's so great. I'm so happy that she came and hung out with me. But there was definitely a couple of other things that I wanted to cover. Namely, I mean, when I was preparing for this show, I just kept seeing stuff pop up because Wednesday's a news cycle day. So like, I just kept seeing stuff like show up, and I was like, oh, okay, here's another thing. Like this was something that I just saw right before we started. I mean, look at this guy. Look at this. Breaking news: Biden admin expected to make COOF jabs mandatory for all active duty soldiers. This comes after President Joe Biden asked the military to examine how and when to make that happen on July 29th. So the U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin is likely to make the COOF jab mandatory for all active duty troops this week. This comes after President Joe Biden, blah, blah, blah. The Pentagon decision on how to proceed could come this week, said several officials. The Pentagon said troops could be among the first to receive the mandatory COOF or the jab before the upcoming deployments. What do you guys think of this? I mean, it's definitely not worse than like the mandated thing in New York, because these guys are like, well, they've already signed up to be the government's to work for the government. So I understand, I guess, that it's in their narrative that they would want to do this, because I feel like once you're in the military, you kind of belong to the government in a sense. So it would make sense that they would want all of their soldiers vaccinated. But is it right to mandate such a thing? Like, does a soldier have the right to choose what they're going to put in their body when it comes to like a jab like this, right? I don't know. I feel like everyone should have a right, but I don't know. Like it all seems very in line with what they're doing anyway. So it's not very surprising to me that they're mandating this from their soldiers. Bruce says, I imagine a lot of soldiers and sailors are on their way out. Medical discharge. F you, Joe. Maybe. Elvis says the U.S. government is ignoring the Supreme Court ruling on CDC. Authorities welcome to communism, Nina. It does seem like we're heading into that communism kind of world, doesn't it? Well, I mean, we are in it now. I swear to God, I don't know why people seem to think that communism works, because I can tell you that my government, it sure as hell didn't work for my government. My country fell to communism very hard, and we learned the hard way that communism is god awful. This is the other thing I saw that goes in line with the whole freedom aspect. Scientific papers suggest criticizing Fauci be deemed a federal hate crime. This reads, an article in the Scientific Journal calls for extending federal hate crime protections to scientists who are criticized by supposed far-right extremists, including Dr. Anthony Fauci. Because, well, they have to say that they're being criticized by far-right extremists. Do they mean people like Rand Paul? Because, Rand Paul, is he considered a far-right extremist? And would he be basically, they would put a federal hate crime charge on him? I don't think they could do that because he's a protected figure, right? Because he's a senator. But other people, I criticize this dude all the time. I call him a clown all the time. And if I was gonna criticize him, that would be a federal hate crime. And in what country too? Like, how would this work? There's no such thing as free speech anymore, it seems, especially not in America. I responded with this because this is the experience I've had being raised or like being born in Iran. I said, if COVID is the new cult and religion, which it is, like we all know the mass cult and everything, that shit is real. If the COVID cult is a new religion, it would make sense to pass a law like this. He's their prophet and Messiah. You know what would happen to you if you criticize the Prophet Muhammad. You're not even supposed to show a depiction of him. It's a great insult and punishable by death. So it would, I mean, if this guy's like their prophet for like this whole koof situation, it would make sense that they would want to make it a federal hate crime to meme the guy because he's such a clown. Everyone hates him. A lot of people hate him, and he's been memed to no end. And he's like, everybody thinks he's a freaking joke, which he is. So, I mean, what gives them the right to do something like that? I mean, it hasn't been done. It's just some idiot suggesting it. Like this is somebody wrote this in some sort of scientific medical journal, but it's like, man, what was that guy on to even suggest something like this? It just means that he's totally like the person that suggested something like this is like in line with that totalitarianism line of thinking. They're completely taken over by it, and they have to protect that narrative at all cost, because if they lose that narrative, then they're going to lose power, and they don't want to lose power. BK Panther says anyone they disagree with is far right. Yeah, like anyone standing to the right of Bernie is far right at this time. At this point, it's kind of nuts. Yeah, I was born in Iran, and my mom and I left because that country's shit. My mom took me out of that country when I was 10 years old, and we moved to Canada. And then, yeah, the rest is history. But then I also moved to Mexico. That's why I live here now. But I did that with my husband. Did they say that? That's interesting. I don't think Biden cares. I don't think Biden cares at all what the Supreme Court has to say about anything at this point. I don't think that entire administration cares. Biden, though, like, I don't even think like it's not like, oh, like he doesn't care about what they're saying. It's like that guy he's not putting his own pants on in the morning. Okay. It's not like he's making any decisions whatsoever. The decisions are being made for him. He's just reading whatever decisions they've made for that week. And they're like, okay, this is what we're doing this week. And he's like, oh, okay. Like, because remember last week he came out and he gave a whole speech about how, I mean, this one, I was just like, are you fucking kidding me right now? Like, he gave a speech about how if you get the coof jab, that you won't ever get coronavirus, like that you're never going to get the coof. And it's like, even the CDC is saying that if you get the jab, you're going to get the coof. Like, it's just probably going to lessen your going to the hospital, or you're not going to, like, even the vaxxers are agreed that if you get the jab, you are still likely to get the coof. There's so many cases coming out about how many people have gotten the jab and they're still getting sick. With the coof when they test positive. And then this guy comes out and says, if you get the jab, you're not going to get it. This was literally last week. He literally said those words. And then I was like, are you kidding me? And then this week he came out and he's like, okay, well, you might get it, but it's going to be lessened. And like, you're not going to go to the hospital. Where am I? Like, it's like every other day. It's like, yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's what's going on over there. It's like, who's going to change my adult diaper every 5 seconds? Like, I think I poo-pooed myself again. Where's Kamala? She got this shift. It's just unbelievable what's going on with him, and half the things that come out of his mouth half the time. I'm just like, what? What are you talking about? Bruce says there's nothing better than seeing someone become a freedom-loving individual. That's true. That's very true. Okay. last couple of things that I want to talk about. By the way, this post was also done by Candace Owens. Let me see if I can get the actual post. This thing about the Lemnant. Did I retweet that? I don't know. But it was funny though, because Twitter put a disclaimer on it, like, this is not a valid tweet. Let me see if I can pull it up, because it was, oh my God, like, Twitter. This is what I mean about the dissenting voices situation, because it's like they don't want to have anything, like nothing. Why is Twitter not working right now? Okay, here it is. I had to go to her account because Twitter totally gave me like a, this is not new. Oh, they're misleading. There it is. Misleading. Learn why. This bullshit. She said, this is Candace Owens saying this. Candace Owens saying this, not me. Lambda variant is so much easier to say than we lied, the vaccines don't work. And then Twitter's like, misleading. Learn why health officials recommend a vaccine for most people. It's I like how they say most people, like it's not all people. This tweet can't be replied to or liked. And this was it. So there's a new variant and it's called Lambda. I thought at first it was called Lambada, and I was like, at least they got a fun name for it this time. So it's like, remember Lambada? Like, that was a good dance. But no, it's not. It's Lambda. It's a highly infectious and thought to be more resistant to the jab. I haven't read this article. I'm probably going to read this article at some point. Not right now, because who cares? We all know it's like every other 5 seconds is a new variant out. Just like every other 5 seconds, they're coming out with new pronouns, and like this week, like, you know, it's allosexual and this sexual and this sexual, and you're like, dude, seriously? Like, no, stop. There's no more. Kai's like, I'm here. We can start the stream now. Dude, you're late. We've already, the guest left. Damajanai, you're still here. I know. Damajanai, if you want a link for the last couple of minutes while I'm just hanging out here, you can come and hang out with me if you want. Let me see. Damajanai, I will send you a link. I'm just going to be hanging out for a couple more minutes because I really wanted to talk about a couple of other topics that are totally going to get my channel in trouble and probably cancel me. But I can't not talk about it. Like, I feel like I have to. My husband keeps telling me I need to make an Odyssey or something because I'm going to definitely get canceled at some point. And that's okay. I will probably make an Odyssey soon. But yeah, so Cuomo, he's a dirtbag. Oh my God, I can't believe half the things he was saying on the whole sexual assault thing. I was like, dude, seriously? He was worse than freaking Bill Clinton. Because Bill Clinton was all like, oh, I did not have sexual relations with that woman. He was basically like the same way, but he was like making it like I did her a favor. Like I helped her. Like he was like, you know, I found out she was like a victim of sexual assault and I like helped her out. And like, you know, because I had so much empathy for her and what she went through. So like I tried to like help her because I knew she was like really depressed. And it's like, what are you talking about, guy? Like, dude, it was bad. It was really bad. Okay. This is the other topic that I want to talk about that's going to get me canceled. I have to be really careful with this one, guys. Also, Candace Owens also shared this, and this is what is going to get me canceled for sure. She said, I can't believe I'm tweeting this. They are pushing the trans agenda on children via Muppet babies. This is sick and perverted. Everyone should be disturbed by predatory cartoons meant to usher children into gender dysphoria. Bring back manly puppets, anyone. I gotta say, I was pretty disturbed by this too. It was kind of fucked up. Let's give it a watch.
The royal ball. We met the most amazing princess, but they ran away, and all they left behind was this.
Everyone, there's something I need to tell you. The princess who came to your ball tonight was me. I'm Gonzarella.
But Gonzo, why didn't you tell us?
Because you all expected me to look a certain way. I don't want you to be upset with me, but I'm...
The royal ball. We met the most amazing princess.
Isn't this called indoctrination? I mean, I feel like that's what we've been taught to think that this would be. Like this is total like what's the word I'm looking for? Subliminal messaging, because this is a show for babies. They don't understand this stuff, man. I don't know. I feel like this is icky. I don't know. It just makes me feel so cringe. Like I'm like, this is what kids are being taught now. Like I remember the shows I used to watch when I was a kid, you know, when I was little, and it sure as hell wasn't this shit. What is this? What's going on with children TV shows and children books? It's getting out of hand with this weird gender bending, weird, let's just turn this creature who, I mean, let's face it, guys, this thing doesn't even have, like, what kind of species is this thing? Like this is, and now we're giving it like some sort of weird sex. Like, is this thing even a, like, it's not a human. Like, what, he's a fly? Like, what is this? What the fuck? And then we're like, okay, now you're a girl, but you're kind of a boy, but you're a girl. This is so gross. I don't know. It's hard cringe for me. It's hard cringe. I don't know. I can't handle it. I feel, I don't know. I mean, I like, it just creeps me out. I don't know. Yeah, totally. I don't know. It just creeps me out, man. I don't know. I'm just like, what's this world coming to? Like, this is exactly what that George Orwell clip was talking about. The one that I started the show with, where he was talking about, you know, they're gonna try and get rid of sexualization. And it was so, like, it was so on point, because this is exactly what's happening with this whole gender, this dysphoria, and this whole identity politics thing is all about that kind of stuff. Like, it's so creepy. Hey, Demogeny.
Hello there.
Here's a dude that's definitely a man. He ain't wearing no dresses anytime.
No, there's no dresses here. Absolutely not. And if you're into that, that's fine. I don't kink shame him.
Oh yeah, no. Yeah. It's
just
all good.
Me,
like,
it's me. I like tacos and cake. Let's just be fair with that. Tacos and cake is what your boy likes. I'm just saying.
I mean, I totally get it, and I like cake too. I like bananas. I like all sorts of stuff.
Look, I'm corrupting Nina.
I don't like
Look at
plantains.
that. I'm corrupting Nina.
You know how like the eggplant is like the
that's
emoji?
the thing they put on the thing.
Yeah. And I'm like, I'm not a huge eggplant lover. I don't like eggplants.
I don't think I've ever had eggplant.
I've had eggplant, and I'm not a fan. And I'm like, I definitely like the other thing, like what it represents, but I don't like eggplant. So can we make one that's something I like and I enjoy? Because
banana. I could
go with a banana, like, because I like bananas.
Yeah.
Why is this? Okay, this conversation just got way out of hand.
Listen, I blame myself for this, because you know your boy is a bit of a degenerate. I am a toxic man. Okay, you know.
You are.
These are things I do. I am a scientist. That's what I am. I am a scientist.
It's true. That's not a lie. He's not.
So
he's not,
I was listening
he's
to
not
it.
a
Yo, your
shitty
conversation was absolutely on fire tonight. I'm over here. I was playing Final Fantasy and I'm listening at the same time, and I'm like, this is a great conversation. I mean,
You
like,
enjoyed the show?
because I tell you, I'm without me getting too much into it. My company is now, doing the whole we gotta wear masks thing again now, and I'm like,
Oh yeah, because you're in New York, right?
I'm right next to it, but I'm not in it. But yeah, it's bad. So I'm like 99%. Look, okay, full disclosure, and I'm doing something I don't like doing. I've had the CV. What do they say about people like myself who had the natural, antibodies?
It doesn't count. You still have to go get the jab.
Yeah. How's that meme go with Bugs Bunny?
No. I know. I love that meme so much. It's like, no, I'm not doing that. Totally.
But
that's
it's just terrible that they look. This is what I'm gonna say, and again, not a doctor, right? But think about this here, and this I have to say this every time we have this conversation. If this thing was as bad as, I don't know, the 12 Monkeys virus. Remember that movie? Like, if you get it, you get 24 hours and you're dead.
Yeah.
If it was that bad, you would be having to fight people away from getting a jab.
You won't have to give out
is,
free burgers to get people to get the cure.
The problem with it is that it isn't that bad, right? And mind you, I lost somebody to this, okay? So I look, I understand it's serious. The thing is real, but the thing is, it's not the government's job. It's not a corporation's job to mandate this stuff. And if it works like it's supposed to, why do you care if I don't have it? Mm-hmm. See, to me, that's the biggest problem. There is when you got to go through so much trouble to force it. To me, that should be a red flag for right, left, libertarian, atheists, Christians, devil worshippers, whoever's out there. It should be a problem for you when somebody's forcing it because for that situation. It's crazy. And by the way, my doctor, who's an actual doctor, when I went and talked to him, he was like, people are out of control with this. This is a doctor.
There's a lot of doctors saying that
people
kind of shit.
People are out of control with this right now.
We got one right in the chat. It's Adega Outlaw. Thank you so much for being here tonight, Adega. He's an awesome guy. Says, Doc here, natural immunity is the only immunity. That's why so many shots, they don't work as are promised. Our medics do vaxes wrong. Mm-hmm. It's unbelievable what's going on out there, man. I cannot believe New York is
that. By the way, the Dark Council will be meeting up in.
Are you guys still gonna do it? I was wondering.
Hell yeah, we're gonna do it. We're gonna do some what you call that civil disobedience. The Dark Council's coming there with a dark cloud and my red synthetic lightsaber, George Lucas's style lightsaber, will be in effect. Okay, that's what we're doing. The Dark Council will be there, okay?
Excellent. I'm very happy to hear that because I was wondering about if that was going to still happen or not.
Oh no, this is happening. I already have my days off. We doing this.
When
this
is that happening again?
Let me give you the exact dates. Here's my
So for those of you guys that don't know, Damaj and I here is part of the Dark Council, which consists
1/6 of the Dark Council.
Which consists of Drunk 3PO, Fatal J, Mark the Gospel. The Gospel according to Mark. I don't know which one that is.
You can just say the Gospel. It's a mouthful. Pause.
Abunas.
Fatal J.
I already said Fatal J. No, Lord Callus is the last one. And Lord Callus. And they're amazing, and they have a show on Tuesdays called The Dark Council, and it rotates between channels. So and my girl Lorena Creole is their producer now. So if you guys want to check them out, definitely subscribe to Damajana and all the Dark Council guys, and check them out. So they're gonna go do a meetup in New York, and this is what we're talking about. So Damajana is about to give me the dates for the Dark Council meetup in New York. So if you're in New York, are you going to meet up with people who want to meet up with you guys?
Well, actually, what's the crazy thing about it is the fact that it falls, which we didn't plan this. It falls around the same time as New York City Comic Con.
Oh,
so we were going to go there. Now that part might be an issue.
Oh,
because they try to play.
Because then you won't be able to.
If they try to play that, oh, you can't go. I'm like, well, I'll be like, look, I'll tell everybody, yo, Dark Council meeting is over here.
Well, let me ask you
pull
this,
everybody
though.
else out of there.
Let me ask you this though, Demonjanai, because you're saying like you're gonna do civil disobedience, right? And I love that. Like, don't get me wrong, but how are you gonna do it if you guys are like getting together and then it's like, oh, we can't go to the restaurant because we're not all, jacked. So you guys can't even go to like restaurants or anything.
We'll make it work.
You're just gonna make it happen. Are you gonna pay people off?
What's that?
Are you gonna pay people off with sex?
We don't disclose anything that's gonna happen. Okay. It's just gonna happen. We're gonna make
John
it happen.
Burns, thank you so much for the $5. Did you say something that YouTube decided to take away? Because if you did, put it in you don't have to super chat again. Just put it in the chat, and I will read it. John, you super chatted again. For $5 says not homeless. You've got a fridge and a stove that keeps your food fresh for longer, and cooking it makes it safer. Too bad. What? Tibet, more homeless is coming. Oh, yeah, more homelessness is definitely coming for sure.
Oh yeah, if they keep this up, it's gonna. That's the thing that gets me so upset about this. It's gonna be the 8th. Well, actually, we're gonna meet up. Drunk and Fatal are gonna be up here by the 8th because almost everybody else is up here. Everybody else is in the northeast. So Drunk and Fatal are the furthest away. So they're gonna be flying up on the 8th. I'm probably gonna be up there and meet them that day. But the main day is gonna be the 9th. That's gonna be the main day.
Wait,
so, yeah,
September 9th?
Sorry, October. I should say.
Oh, okay.
October
9th. Okay, yeah. So how long are you gonna stay? Like all of you?
Yeah, all of us are gonna be there. So
yeah, but for how long is it?
Well, Fatal and Drunk are gonna be up there Friday night, but the actual meetup is supposed to be Saturday. But I'm pretty sure we're gonna make it. I don't think anybody's sleeping that night. I don't think anybody's gonna be sleeping. No. I'm gonna have to do a Fatal J. And I was gonna say I can't do it.
Why?
Don't do drugs, kids. Don't do drugs. I was gonna say.
He got a strike on his channel. Did you see that?
Who? Fatal?
Yeah.
For what?
Because he apparently used the picture of the new Flash costume, and he said he blurred it out, but apparently YouTube gave him a strike for it.
He got an actual strike?
Yeah, he posted it on Twitter.
I didn't even see it because I've been working.
Yeah,
snap!
Yeah.
Wow.
He got a strike. And he's
You know what it is. This is the thing that, and this is a whole other thing which coincides with what we were talking about as far as like, shutting people down. YouTube is an extension of the government at this point. They are. As a matter of fact, anytime we're on this thing that we're doing, we're playing Russian roulette. Really, we are, because it's a shame that we can't like talk about things, and that's the one thing. It's so crazy when you sit back and think about it, and it's actually a quote from a show which I love. The show is when Tyrion Lannister says, "When you cut out a man's tongue, you're not proving him a liar. You're just stating that you're afraid of what he might say. That's all you're saying. This is why every time I hear anything where it's contrary to what the main story, the main narrative is, and they're trying to shut it down, I'm like, y'all lying.
Yeah.
Y'all lying. Because if you wouldn't be fighting so hard if you was telling the truth. You wouldn't be trying to force people to take a jab if you was telling the truth. You wouldn't be. It would be no need to.
Yeah, you wouldn't have to fight people for it. That's
exactly.
The thing. You just really wouldn't have to do it.
Absolutely not.
I would be lined up. Like,
yeah.
You know why? Because I like living. Like, I don't want to die. I like living, and if this was like a serious situation, and then there was like whatever.
Absolutely.
I'd be like, I'm lining up. I'm getting my shot because I like to live.
Absolutely, and that's the other thing too. Like I put in my super chat, and people act like that people were immortal before the TV. Like it's literally like, yeah, like, oh, grandma's gonna die. Yeah, well, no shit, grandma is gonna die at some point. I mean, it sucks, but we all look. Everybody is guaranteed that. Every person here is guaranteed a pine box. That's what everybody gets. That is your prize. Your prize at the end of the tunnel is a pine box. Period.
That's why it was so fucked up to me that when I'm reading in Australia that they shut down the whole country because like
for 9 people.
Well, for nine people, but before that, like they shut it down again because one 89-year-old person died or like 84-year-old person died or something like that. And I was like, look, listen, if once you're like past 80 years old, like every day
you kind of lived your life.
Gift. Yeah, every day
you kind of lived your life.
Okay,
yes.
so like it's like
I would love to make it to 89. Hopefully, I make it there. My grandmother is 92, and she went and got the jab. I'm like, Grandma, you crazy.
No, God bless her. I hope she's gonna be okay. And I know that a lot of older people are fine getting it too. Like this is most of the stuff that's going on with the jab is not. It's detrimental to much younger people. People our age actually are having really bad effects. So young, healthy men like yourself are having heart
and that's
problems.
the other thing too. Look, they're not talking about any preventative measures. They're not saying go to the gym. They're not saying take your vitamins, not take zinc, not take, they're not saying anything about that. Oh, stick this foreign object into you rather than use what's natural for you.
Become healthy before you do. You better fucking put that shit in your body. It's
that's the most ridiculous. Look, again, it shouldn't have to be. We shouldn't have to say, oh, we're not a doctor. It should just be common sense. Common sense is the healthier you are, if you do get sick, regardless of what it is, short of it being like HIV or cancer, you have a better chance in surviving if you're taking care of yourself.
Exactly. But that's what I was saying about like the 80-year-old person that died in like, in Australia too. That I was like, okay, like if this person's died, like at that age, like every day is a gift. So like you're gonna die at some point off anything. Like you might slip on something in the bathtub and fall down, and that's
my best friend. Like my best friend that I grew up with, he passed away at 26 from asthma.
Ooh,
26.
That's real young.
Yeah. So listen, I get it. The CV is a situation, but we were not immortal before that.
No,
everybody is guaranteed one thing on this planet. And that's as much as I want to be here forever, to quote Darth Sidious, to cheat death is a power that only one has achieved. I would love to do that, but in reality, I ain't gonna be able to do that. So hey.
No, it's crazy to me because I feel like there's so much stuff about like we like all the stuff that we were talking about earlier in the show tonight. About fear and how much fear is affecting us just actually living our life. Like basically like fear has just basically stopped so many people from living. We're just constantly existing at this point, and existing is not life. Like you need to live, you need to go out, you need to see friends, you need to see family, you need to be able to go to a restaurant without being harassed. Like that's life. Like, like last year they canceled Christmas and like they canceled Thanksgiving over this shit.
And I find it funny that they're kicking this, like you said, they're kicking it right in right when the school year starts. When think about it now, and by the way, everybody out there, right? I want to give y'all a little Demogeny advice, right? Especially in the New York situation.
Do I find it curious. For this?
Yeah, I mean you could. Okay. Yeah, you could do that. So here's what we're gonna do. We're talking about them going through this, oh, you have to have your pass to eat in New York and everything. I find it very curious, and this should be something that a lawyer should be able to work with. You're going to make people, it's getting cold, you're going to make them eat outside. Ooh. Word. You're going to make people stand outside. They're not going to be able to go inside in the winter. I need some lawyers to look into that. That's got to be something that can't be constitutional. That cannot be constitutional for y'all to do that in the winter.
I was
when
listening
everybody
to
has to be inside. Think about the strategic
No, you're
planning
right.
of that. You're waiting
right.
to when people have to be inside because it's going to be getting colder to say you can't be inside unless you take this. Bro, that is coercion. I don't care what anybody says.
Like, what
that
about
needs to
people, what about people who have medical exemptions from doctors saying that they
Exactly.
can't take the vaccine? Like,
Yeah.
there are a lot of people who have medical exemptions. There are children that are not getting vaccinated. What about all of these people? Like, you can't do this. And I was listening to Carrie Smith and Chrissy Meyer's podcast the other day. Which, great podcast.
Oh, they were killing it.
They were killing it too. And they were talking about how that's what Carrie Smith was saying. Like, and there's going to be so many lawsuits from this. There's going to be a lot of lawsuits.
There's no way
this
this can't
do this.
This can't fly. This cannot fly. This can't,
how does this?
Somebody
how
needs
does
to come. Somebody above him needs to be like, yo, you can't do that, bro. Like, I
How
know you're the
does
man, but you
HIPAA
can't do that.
How does HIPAA or whatever it is like fit
Exactly.
into all of
HIPAA.
this?
But as a matter of fact, soon as somebody that's my listen. Remember you asked me what I was going to do. That's one of the things I'm going to do. I said, you do understand it's the HIPAA laws. There's a HIPAA law. I don't have to tell you shit. I ain't got to tell you nothing.
That's, I mean, but I think that what's happening from what I understand is that they're like overcoming the HIPAA thing by saying that because of the emergencies laws declared,
What emergency?
that's the pandemic.
My question is, I mean, Australia's locking down for 9 people. How many people we have? I mean, and that's the other thing too. They're supposed to stop counting. Like you have seasons. Like there's a flu season. They keep They keep tacking the number on from like patient 0. You can't do that because it's been different seasons. I mean, technically speaking, it's been
they do it
4
for every
seasons.
year though, right? Don't they?
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Like with the flu season, it's supposed to be a season. Like this would be like going into September, the winter.
September, October, November.
Yeah, it's like a flu season then, right?
Yeah.
And by the way, where's the flu at? Anybody knows where the flu's been at? Anybody?
Outside.
Mama YouTube, Mama, you there? Where's the flu been at? I'm just saying. Nina, I hope your channel stays up. I'm just saying. This
I know.
Yeah, I mean, you've been doing some deep cuts today, boy. Some deep cuts.
Scary. This is a scary time for me.
Just
I mean,
just unlist this. That's all I'm gonna tell you.
I think, dude, it doesn't even matter. You know what the craziest part is I found out that it doesn't even matter if you delete videos. It doesn't matter if you unlist them. YouTube can still strike you and get rid of your channel, even on deleted or unlisted videos. It doesn't even matter. So you might as well keep it private or public if you really wanted to, because it really doesn't matter at all. John Burns, thank you so much for the $5. Says Ethan Klein wanted to talk about Alex Jones being removed from YouTube. Ethan thought this good. 5 minutes into the stream, YouTube gave us a strike. Oh shit.
Wait, how did you get a strike for talking about Alex Jones?
Talking about Alex Jones. They
I used to look, you know what's crazy?
They hate Alex Jones.
I know they hate him. Like I will, like before I started really doing my own YouTube stuff and everything, I listened to basically everybody. I listened to Young Turks, listened to Alex Jones. The plus side is that for me, diversifying my thoughts, I listen to even more people. Like I'm not the biggest fan of Ben Shapiro, but I listen to him. I like Candace Owens. I like what she talks about. I listen to a wide variety of people, and that's what you should be doing.
Me too.
You should be listening to all sides because
dissenting voices. I want to hear all sides of the
exactly.
story. Yeah.
Because I'm a firm believer in the Sith code, and to me, to be a great and wise master, one must learn all aspects, not just the dogmatic view of the Jedi. That is how you become a wise master. You do not sit there and listen to one side. You need to know all sides. And with that being said, I got to tell you, some of the stuff on the left, and I'm not a right or left guy, but some stuff be really irking my nerves. Like I do not like this whole cancel culture thing. I don't like this. You have to do as I say type of deal. I don't like this. Because you're a like it makes me sick when I hear, because just like perfect example. When I was growing up, I might be a little old time, Gen X stand up, right? I remember Reagan was like the first president I remember. Like obviously I was born for Carter, but I didn't remember. I was too young. But I remember Reagan, and I don't ever remember this type of divide, even with Reagan. And a lot of people, those people might not think he was the best guy. I wouldn't really know because I was way too young. But I remember him, and I remember the situation, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember this type of divide.
No.
Back then.
There's never been this kind
This
of
is
divide.
ridiculous. This is ridiculous.
Maybe the Vietnam War, because there was.
Yeah, but that's before I was born. So I'm talking about for me being born.
Like, that's the last time I remember that the people were really against the government.
You remember that,
like,
Nina? Were you there? Nina?
I don't remember, but I remember like
I'm only messing with you.
I wasn't alive, but I've seen enough. I've read enough about it to know that's the only other time that I remember how much people were like, "No, fuck you!" Like this is bullshit. John Burns, thank you so much for the $2. Says smokers tell people to piss off in the bus stations. What?
Oh, you talking about people being civil disobedience? I'm assuming.
Oh, okay.
I mean, listen, but smoking. The thing about smokers is like I just don't like the smell of it. Like I'm cool, you smoking.
Here's the thing: non-smokers die too. Okay, everybody dies.
No, I know that. I'm not talking about the death part. I'm just saying talk about as like the uncomfortable smell of it. I'm not a fan of that.
Stinky, yeah.
Stinky. I actually don't mind to be crazy. The crazy enough, I actually think weed smells better than cigarette smoke. Honestly,
I agree with you.
Yeah, weed smells.
I love that smell.
Yeah.
I'm weird though, because like I'll smell like skunk, and I'll be like, oh, I love that smell. And people are like, oh, dude, that's fucking skunk, and I'm like, I like that smell. I don't care. BK Panther says the HIPAA thing may not be accurate. I saw several pages that doesn't work outside of a medical environment that would prevent people from asking you your status. I don't know. I don't know anything about this.
If it doesn't, I'm still going to try it.
Hey man, you got to do what you got to do.
Hey, look. Here's the deal, right? I mean, if we do the dark council meetup and they don't let us eat, I'm like, great, you just lost some money. I'm telling you, right? You just lost some money.
Why don't you guys just change locations? Why don't you come to Florida? I don't understand. Have you guys all bought your tickets?
No, I mean, there's no tickets to buy. I'm right here. That's why.
Why don't you guys?
But Fatal J and Drunk already did. They already bought tickets. They flying, so they bought tickets already.
They can't like change it.
I don't know.
Non-refundable.
I have no idea. I have no idea what they bought on their end, but I know they bought their tickets to come up here already.
I would have like just all gone to Florida. Like fuck New York. Why are you guys even going there?
They haven't been here. That's why they haven't been here.
They wanted to like come visit. Oh, okay.
Yeah. They want to do the. Well, I don't know if they want. I doubt we'll be able to do the Statue of Liberty thing either because I don't know.
Isn't it closed now?
Drunk was like he want to do all kinds of sightseeing. I said, bro, you need like 3 or 4 days type of stuff you trying to do, bro.
Yeah, but even the stuff that like most of the tour stuff is closed now. Like I heard you can't really go to Liberty Island and stuff like that, especially at the height of it.
I haven't been there. Believe it or not, me being born and raised in Brooklyn, I've been to the Statue of Liberty maybe 3 or 4 times. Damn. I never went to the World Trade Center ever. I drove past it plenty of times. I'm talking about the actual Twin Towers.
Yeah, like
I drove past it a few times. Never been in the Empire State Building either. I just didn't do it.
Empire State Building.
Never did it.
You never did the Sleepless in Seattle. You didn't go up there.
But here's the deal: when you from there, it's not a thing to do. It just wasn't a thing to do.
People come visit, and then you'd be like,
yeah, but if they come visit, we went and did other things like go to the Statue of Liberty. Statue of Liberty was more fun because you could do stuff like you could have a picnic. You could actually chill out and do stuff there. Like you go to the World Trade Center or whatever. You just really going up there.
Building. Yeah.
Oh wow! Look, it's New York City. I could take a picture of that. Great. Yeah. I mean, I can see it all the time. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I never did it, and that just me being. And I was born and raised there. Just never did it. It just never was a thing to do.
John, you're so right. It says winter's coming. It's fine smoking outside until it gets to 40 below. Then some huddle inside where you can. It like mask wearing if you want to come outside. Yeah, dude. I remember how cold Canada gets. I did not envy my smoker friends at all. Like when they had to go outside and they were like freezing.
Oh, I
nads off. Dude, in Canada, like there's no problems about wearing a mask. It's so fucking cold. Like you'll be like, can I have 10 masks to cover?
Yeah, I believe it.
It's so
my brother
cold.
lives in Wisconsin, so he's like right at that nice cool breeze from that that lake. He's like, yeah, our highs be 0. I'm like, yeah, and he keep trying to get me to move out there. Like, bro, I am not moving. It's bad enough it gets cold. It gets cold over here. I am not moving to where the Great Lakes is. It's freezing over there.
It's so cold. Oh, I can't. That's why
I don't like it. I don't like it at all.
Dude, I moved to Cancun. I was like, I'm done with the cold. Like, never again. Never
That's
again.
like my dad. My dad moved to Vegas because he said he was done with it too. So
yeah, never
he's
again.
like, I'm done.
Damaj and I, thank you so much for joining me tonight. It is, I've been going about like 2.5 hours now, so I think I'm going to end the show. But is there any parting words you want to leave with people? This is probably the last time you're going to be on my channel because I probably canceled myself.
we're gonna keep you up here. We're gonna keep you up here. What I do have a new video I just put out today. It was about Tila. So you can check that out on my channel.
Check out Damaj and I's channel. Let me just put your channel in the chat.
Yes, awesome. Thank you. And Saturday I'll have the Spell Broken live. And Sundays I do Spell Broken gaming. Right now I'm actually playing through Final Fantasy VII Remake. We are on chapter 7 right now. So if you want to come and check that out. And by the way, I'm playing this game on hard mode with all my gear on. So I'm basically running through these fools. Just so you know that. I'm running through them.
Nice. Elvis corrected you. It's video about She-Man.
No. This one was actually about Tila. 83
okay.
Tila. So it's actual Tila I'm talking about. So,
okay. So there you go.
So it's actual Tila. But yeah, so
I feel so bad for you, Lisa. I guess I'm a tourist in my own state. Oh, you poor thing.
What, were you in New York too?
She's a New Yorker, yeah.
Yeah, I've never done it. I just never had the opportunity or the desire to do it because when I would. So, in case y'all didn't know, just real quick before I get out of here.
Hold on, look at this comment.
This is unwrapped up in
like he's got a parka, like one of those like ski masks.
Oh, okay.
And someone's like, could you please put your mask on under my scarf and my hood and my eye? Seriously? Oh my God. Can you believe this?
Did somebody actually do that?
Somebody Karen'd him and said this.
Wow.
Jesus Christ.
I remember somebody, the illest thing somebody ever said, because I work in retail. I had 2 people say some things. One was a customer come and he's like, oh, what's your policy on masks? I'm like, well, people are supposed to wear them. He says, well, you got to put people walking around here without them. I says, well, we can't force anybody to do it. We could just ask you to. He said, well, sir, but you have your mask on, so you should be okay. Did you stop and think about that? That's the whole thing. Like this if that's the one thing I want to give everybody before they leave is if you're protected, if you take your jab, if you wear the mask, why do you care if I croak? Not saying that I will, because I'm working on a way to cheat death.
Yeah.
I'm studying the teachings of the Sith.
He says -40 and this will happen. Okay, so it hadn't happened yet. Thank God.
Okay,
I lost all hope for Canadians for a
I was
minute.
about to say, that's crazy.
Mind you, my mom did tell me, and I know, John, that you're in Calgary, and my mom told me that they opened up everything in Calgary. Like, Calgary became, like, open. No masks, no nothing, whatever. And apparently people went out and protested that they opened, and they were like, we need to have masks, and you need to mandate masks, and we need lockdown.
And they did it?
They haven't done it yet, but the people went out and protested against being free. They were like, we need to lock down.
Bro, that is, listen, please stop, yo, for real. Like, y'all need to get a hold of yourself. You need to get a hold. Listen. I know you're trying to get out of here, Nina, but I gotta just listen, ladies and gentlemen in the chat, you do understand that we are floating on a rock that is floating around gamma radiation, meteors, comets, black holes. There are meteors out there the size of Texas floating around us, and at any given moment, if they just tap their trajectory a little bit to the left or right, it's lights out for everybody. Everybody. We gotta stop worrying about something that you have a serious chance of getting over. You have a serious chance of getting over it. A high chance. Can we please stop? Just stop it. Get some help.
Very, very wise words from Damaj and I. We're gonna end it on this because really, there's nowhere else. There's nothing else to say. So thank you so much, everybody, for joining me.
Have a great one, everybody.
Wednesday. I'll be back next Wednesday, and also I'll be back this Friday for Infinite Hope, where I will try and jab you with some hope in your system because we are really, really gonna need some hope after this
Nina
show.
likes jabs and bananas.
Definitely like bananas. Bananas are my jam. BANANAS. Have a good one, everybody. Bye.
Later, y'all.